You know, always did right, and that's the problem now. Okay. So today is the 29th. Maybe the 30th. I think it's the 30th. I don't know. I just got up a little bit ago. I've been inside. This is my third day not leaving my apartment. My end of my rollerball is on the floor. The fan blew it off this massage bed, but if it weren't for that, I know. Maybe I can peek and see. 29th. So, this is kind of like a vlog for the last few days. The last one that I made was on the 24th. And on the 25th, I stayed in. You saw on the 24th I had court. I also had an appointment with the psych doctor. More of those lies. And you also saw that I stood up at the pharmacy because of the parallel reality lies they were trying to tell. So, that was that day in a nutshell. I came home. When I came home, 302, her baby dad, he did something that he never does. So Drop was over there. You've heard me mention Drop. He's like a white older hobo. He's associated with the Grant Street elders. So, and they purposefully put him on this street this year to support the lies that they were telling about my location, okay? And they figured if they took him from Grant Street, where I always see him, and had him surface here on Upland Avenue, that it would better suggest that it was Grant Street that I lived on. So, like I said, I've almost been in this apartment 3 years. He never was over here doing work, nor asking to do work. You know, like mow the lawn, pick your weeds, take your trash out, maybe lay some concrete is what it looked like he's about to do. So he was over there with Nicole's baby dad on the porch as I passed by. And he said, "Hey, Tequila." And I looked at him, and I looked at 302's baby dad, and I rolled my eyes, and I said, "Hey, like, you gotta be, like, you always with some motherfuckers I don't fuck with, that's why I don't be speaking to you." And he said, "All right, have a good day." And I said, "Uh-huh." And kind of, you know, went on about my business. I came here, I stayed here for 2 hours. I did some stuff in between around my apartment. And then I went to Walmart at like 8. I caught the 8:40 bus, I think, to the 9 p.m. lineup. I eat at the same time. And they've been claiming I'm gonna get to all that. So, catch the bus to 9 p.m. lineup. I go to Walmart on South Arlington Road. Oh, you see a video about that already. So, I'm gonna skip to the next day. Next day, I stay inside and I don't go out. I don't leave my apartment. I'm like working on my list. Oh man, I'm gonna have to. Hold on. Okay. So, I stayed in. Yeah, I was kind of working on my task list. This is, yeah, it's written. I'm not doing digital journals right now. I actually just did My last little bit of entries for y'all was like a week and a half ago. So this is August. This is September. This is the kind of planning I was doing. Mapping out all the things that need to be done. Okay. Of course, and a lot of, some of these things, not many, are around the house. It wasn't until like the 26th that I realized I had been home like 3 days before I realized they stole my book bag. Okay. The government stole my book bag out of my apartment. It didn't have anything in it. So, also, on Thursday, the 20... Oh, so on the 26th, I have an appointment at CSS. On the 25th, what happened was, while I was here and not leaving, they do this all the time. They'll smoke meth downstairs. They'll say that they're going to inconvenience me, claim that I'm the one that's doing it, all kinds of stuff. But that's really not how day reporting goes. You know, like, sometimes it is associated with mistreatment. They'll just randomly call you, and you can tell when it's being randomly done, because it's like after the hour that you're supposed to get the call. So, but those identities that the agents surveilling me are using in the apartment downstairs, they are also using at these facilities that I go to. So when they get desperate and they're on the verge of losing something, or they need to fake like they're not having a problem with me, they'll inconvenience me and have me go to one of these facilities and act like, you know, there was no problem, to maintain the DNA that they're stealing from me. Okay, I'm on probation. It ain't like when they call I can be like, fuck you. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not in a position to have a warrant out for my motherfucking arrest or none of that shit. I don't need any of those little hurdles. I don't need none of that little shit. I got enough. And if it weren't for that, I would be like, fuck it, because I know exactly what the fuck they're doing. So, look at how they broke my hair in the back for no reason. They put a lot of gray in the front of my head and all kind of stuff to support all the lies they're telling. They're calling me these other. I'm gonna get to all that. So, I get a call on the 25th, voicemail, because I ignored the call. I have a drug screening and I need to be there by the end of the day on the 26th. So I'm like, okay, since I gotta go out on the 26th, which is a Thursday, and I have an appointment on Friday with the caseworker at CSS, I need to just see if I can put these two together. Put these two appointments together, you know, because right now I'm trying to stay in as much as possible because of my workload, and something always happens when I'm out. So I contact the caseworker and I see if she'll if she had time in her schedule for Thursday so I could get both things out the way, and she ended up having time. That day I also went to the pharmacy. You saw that video. Also, I got some evidential type stuff, but none of the details of the day. I wasn't able to talk about cursing and spelling, you know, like that's like, I don't know, maybe a day max that I'd be able to recall some of those things, like, because they erase it all. They erase it all after they do it. But, and you know, cursing and spelling is non-stop all day long, okay? But anyhow, when I left CSS, on my way to the Oriana house to drop a urine sample, I ran across Marlon, who I used to know from, like the Thornton area. You know, grew up off of on Princeton Street. They lived in Channelwood, or grew up in Channelwood. I had been knowing him and his sister since middle school. So, you'll see videos about that. let's see. 27th, I stayed inside. I didn't do anything. They attacked me a great deal that day, so I didn't get a whole lot done around my apartment. I took my, 27th. What all did I do that day? I think I made greens and did something else because my potatoes had been soaking for a couple of days, so that had to be what I did. Yeah, that was the same day I made greens. I did laundry in my tub, and some other things like cleaned the fridge out. There was something else. Oh, all that stuff is on this list. You can look at this list. So, it just blew off. 28th, yesterday, I took my weave down and I did like a zucchini, baking soda, lemon, and sea salt bath. But I didn't take my hair down until I got out of the shower. The government act like it never happened. Like, they removed all the particles and were cursing and spelling, were attacking my nose real bad so that I couldn't pick up on the smells of my environment. They started trying to claim that I was someone else and somewhere else. They were talking about those downstairs, how they were being successful at manipulating reality because I hadn't opened my door, the door to my entrance, and saying that they were going into places and acting like, you know, they didn't have to worry about me showing up and all kind of things. The same with this one over here, Sonia Davis, Demita Smith, and those across the street. They didn't mention 302, but they have been talking about them and their situation. They keep saying that he ran her out of her place. And most of the day, the vehicle is gone. He's there though, and it appears that she's visiting. So, but they were also talking about the ones next door, the other interracial couple next door to them, and how they're using her baby dad. So, in order to keep her job or something like that, it was cursing and spelling surrounding that. They never really talk about 312 because they use them like they use 309. So, and I've mentioned that in another video. As far as 316 goes, they said that Phil was losing his mind and that he was going to go back to doing some of the other stuff that he'd been doing. And they also been suggesting that he's messing with her daughter. It's so weird. And I'm just telling you what the government's telling me. This is like an isolated matter, so it's not like it's going to get a rumor started or anything. It's not that type of situation. I'm documenting what's being said to me. Okay? This ain't hit nobody's ears. And when it does, the entire matter will be out. They were talking about Joanne's, about how they've been messing up her equilibrium and stuff, that she found out that I didn't want them in none of the places they've been putting them in. And that she started to decline. And they'll do stuff like they'll back out and like, you know, they're just like, they'll tear the it's not tearing the identities up. They don't do nothing to these things. Like I said, they are looking at me and calling them me, them, looking at them and calling them me, okay, and attacking me for what they did to me. Like for, you know, the smearing campaign and the lies that they're doing and all the covert sabotage, okay, for parallel reality type stuff. You know, Joanne got a whole clan over there, right? It's her husband, and she got 3 of the 4 kids living there. of those, there's a set of female twins. The one female twin ain't been around since like the beginning of 2002. The task in 2019 was to get them off the bus, and they changed their faces. And then in 2020, that might have been when the one twin stopped surfacing. So, it's only been one. You only see one twin. And they were talking about how they're using it to fuck me over. The environments that it's in, the type of things that it's associated with. And, every time they call me really, really nasty females, they put bumps. Not every time, but I'm just saying the more of them that they're suggesting that I am, so these identities, there's thousands. On a small scale, hundreds of identities that you come across when you go to a bus transit. When I hit Metro bus transit, I come across a lot of motherfuckers. And I be getting on my motherfucking way. You get what I'm saying? Like, busy trying not to come in contact with anything and let anything come in contact with me. But you're in an area where everything's moving. And that's how they manipulate reality. So, this spaghetti is so good. I want to demolish it and can't. I think I'm going to wait till I'm done with this video. So, yeah, it goes on. Even 324, they were talking about them. Today they mentioned him in court. How they were using them and about to bring them into play. Also on Friday, I'm trying to think, is Friday where I left off? When I said Friday, I stayed in 27th. I contacted the city, and I just so happened to be able to get a hold of the ward supervisor. So this location falls into Ward 5. And I got to speak to the supervisor. His name is Terrence. You know, that's also the bus driver's name. So I got to speak to him about this situation. It's unfucking acceptable. You'll see the video on it. I'm not even going to talk about it because it'll make me angrier than fuck. But anyhow, he's supposed to be out tomorrow morning. And I'll be here to see. Because they've been completely fucking me over and conspiring. Because they're using all these identities. When stuff surfaces regarding this situation, they ignore it. They're doing the same thing at the fucking housing authority. They were doing the same thing at the police department. The city. You know what I'm saying? This high grass and weed division. They're doing the same thing there. And I probably can name a couple other places. So, they done got a few things down. Like I said yesterday, I took my weave down and did some other things around my apartment as far as food prep and stuff. Today is the 29th. I'm going to be working on finishing this list, and I'm going to be drafting the letter. I started my wall too a few days ago in my living room. You know, I have a similar ordeal in my bedroom. It's mostly about the earth's design in my bedroom. This one is going to be evidential. So that's like, even though there's some anatomy type stuff in there, it's only because it aligns with the historical reference. And over here you see there's like a gang stalking. And it talks about what gang stalking is. Cops will see this when they come in. Detectives, whatever. Because I'm going to kill them motherfuckers. But we'll see. Gang stalking, what gang stalking is, and that's going to have a whole lot of information. Undeniable stuff. Today, like I said, I'm going to be finishing up this list and trying to finish my research for lawyers, out-of-state lawyers. I probably won't get to contact them this week. It'll be next week. And you know how that goes. Every time they corrupt something or steal a device, I have to do all that research over again. They'll take the information and use it, okay? So you got dummies showing up like they just spitting shit that they ain't learned nowhere. Malicious. I'm talking about super evil and malicious. I'm gonna wash my hair in a little bit. The time is now 1:22 p.m. I don't you know my phone service is messed up. Oh, I guess I need to talk about all this other stuff. Some of the cursing and spelling. Okay, so one of the bitches had the nerve to be talking about my mom's hormones this morning. She was talking about, you got a problem? Let me tell you. She was like, you got a problem with the way that we're operating in this neighborhood. She was like, but pretty much, if you don't allow us to use your mom's hormones to keep these motherfuckers from throwing a fit, they're going to go off. No, they're not going to go off. No, they're not. Because they know what the fuck I'll do. And you ain't supposed to be using shit. Y'all low as fuck. You sound like an idiot. What y'all trying to do is feel different. And have y'all motherfucking situations function different than they normally do, so they don't feel as low as they are. Last night, I slept in my bedroom on my floor. They lied and lied and lied. They wouldn't let me sleep. I didn't get to sleep until about 4:35 a.m. They attacked me the entire motherfucking time, and they had my stomach in the most painful blow. They were calling me Sonya Davis. They intercepted all my liquor yesterday. I had about this much vodka, and I'm talking about this much in the bottle, like not this much in the cup. So it was all of 5 or 6, about 6-7 ounces. It was 6-7 ounces. I had wine. They took all that too. They were lying about the meals that I'm having. They were taking, you can feel them pulling it from my stomach. And you can feel them injecting something into my stomach. So if the motherfuckers downstairs are trying to claim that they're me and that they're trying to claim my space and stuff like that, they'll put traces of what I had in them. And they'll put traces of what they had in me and claim that I'm the fast food junkie. Or the snacker. Or whatever in the fuck it is they do. They used to do nothing but motherfucking scrap and eat fast food. Scrap metal and eat fast food. What else happened? They were knocking stuff over yesterday. They've been faking like they were putting me on my vagina for the last 3-4 days and giving me shots in my private area. Okay, so check this out. Before I return home, this is like a, oh no, let me see what all this is. You know, I didn't get home until the 23rd. And they changed the meter again. They took more weight off her to call her me. They said they're going to get the meters to put surveillance in. And I suppose like the first, her boyfriend suddenly start sitting there with their, you notice my view window is normally open, but this is on the second story, which means no one can see in. From her bedroom, she would probably be able to see an angle or a percentage of this room with the blinds open. But, and you know, she has a history of staring. Like, she's one of those things, like, it is so weird. It'll be like looking into your place, and you'll catch it looking into your place, and it'll continue to look like it's not being seen. So they were saying that we're going to get them to put surveillance in. Her boyfriend had been opening up her, I don't know what that is. It has seats, so maybe her dining room area. The agents got mad because I wasn't trying to look in and see what her place was like. They were calling him surveillance, talking about he was going to be having those curtains open to see what type of activity was going on over here, because they were trying to get Kelly Bunce and Steve out of it. And this is like, it happened, it was being done the night that I called the cops on them for the meth that they were smoking, the 25th. About 3 days. Okay, you know, I ain't been in them about. Okay, so that's how that curse played out. They have been turning Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on when I reach my apartment from the Wi-Fi, from the iPhone, Wi-Fi only. Yeah, you've heard me talk about the things that they've done with my phone in the other videos. They terminated my service early, a day early on the iPhone, and there's so many different ways that they're able to hack and track and infiltrate devices, you know. So like, if they're not using the IP address, they'll continue to turn the Wi-Fi on and act like they're, you know, and infiltrate the device that way. They'll continue to turn the YouTube on and infiltrate the device that way. So I never have YouTube and Wi-Fi on when I'm at home, because I don't have Wi-Fi. I got hotspots, but I don't got no reason to use them. Both phones have the internet. Bluetooth. The first time I tried to use Bluetooth was yesterday. I was trying to send photos between phones. It would not work. They would not allow it to work. But what I'm experiencing with those two functions is they're always off. The government always turns them on. So that means throughout the day, I always have to turn those off. And there's times where they'll get real fucked up and petty about it, like doing it right in front of me. You get what I'm saying? Like, most of the time it's like you pick your phone. What is this doing on? Like, I wish y'all leave my motherfucking phone the fuck alone. And then there's times where it's like, turn it off, they'll turn it right back on, turn it off, they'll turn it right back on, and that'll go on and on for fucking minutes. Funky vagina smell in my crotch area, okay? You could smell my panty liner, which is in contact with my vagina, and there would be nothing, okay? And I told you this is despite whether or not they're doing the astral projecting thing, which means that they leave an ash behind when they exit. So when you smell my panty liner, you're not going to pick up on any foul smells. When I take my pants off, you would swear it was a bitch that had a nasty ass vagina wearing no panties. That's what they've been making the crotch smell like in my pants. And so you're holding these two things up, and it's obvious they're calling me more than one motherfucking person. having 3 separate fucking experiences, and it could even go a step further, but I'm not gonna talk about that. When I first got home, they were trying to keep me from showering. Like, they were poisoning me and exhausting the fuck out of me. I was so exhausted for days. And they would get mad when I took a shower. They were trying to keep me there. So intent was to keep me from showering. Wait, they're still doing the worst shit with attacking my body, fat injections and stuff. When you look at the miles that I've done, when you look at my activity and my intake versus what they're being, and it shows in my thyroids. This is what I was talking about. The more things that they're plugging into me, the more DNA that they're stealing, the worse these numbers get. So you saw when I was visiting my primary doctor, she didn't even entertain it. She tried to motherfucking derail me and send me to a nutritionist who she knew was horrible. When the motherfucking thyroid results was right there in my motherfucking and lab results. So anyhow, I have to fax those to CSS. Not for nothing, not that they can do anything about it, but I'm just saying, now you know what the fuck it is. And they have been doing the same thing with vitamin D. And I never take that motherfucking prescription. So, they were mad about clothes. You know, they be tearing these clothes up. These little rags that I got. When I bought those 2 pair of $7 jeans, they threw a fucking fit. They were mad about those gray shoes. They were fucking them up on the first day and then they cleaned them up. So I got a picture of what they were doing, and the next morning they weren't the same. They knew I was going to talk about it. And I meant to put it on Instagram, and then I think I might have wrote about it instead of adding the picture. No, maybe I put the picture. I did. They were talking about how, okay, so check this out. Like I said, now I'm at the point where I was before I started seeing what all was on there. So, before I came home, they were talking about these situations. You know how the domestic stuff was starting to pick up and all kind of stuff. Because they weren't able to act like they were with me. So, they said that Nicole Westlow was mad because I won't allow myself to look indecent in clothes. So when I went up in those jean sizes, like something so that motherfucking fat wouldn't be bulging and falling over. And it took me forever to go up in sizes. I don't like So anyhow, they were talking about how I won't allow myself to look indecent in clothes and that don't fit, and that's somebody started doing a comparison. They were looking at her behavior and activity, and they said she was mad about it, and they said that her baby dad got mad about some other things, and they clashed. And then it wasn't until I actually got home that I realized that something apparently happened, because one's gone during the day, but they were also talking about him being desperate to not be reduced to what he was, okay? And him trying to fake like I wasn't the only one on Upland Avenue that lives alone. And I am the only one on Upland Avenue that lives alone. So anyhow, jean size from 11, sometimes a 13 depending on the fit, to a 15. And I'm talking about a stretch 15, okay? Horrible, horrible shit. They're attacking my stomach, my nose, putting my back and neck in pain last night to keep me from falling into a doze. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not leaving nothing out, because there were some specific things that I wanted to know, especially as far as cursing and spelling with. But I told you at the beginning of this video, if I don't note those things to reference, that they get a, you know, or mention it soon, like in a day or so, that it's gone. They erase all that stuff. And I've been telling you that since 2019. That's like they were talking about how they were damaging my pineal gland, and then they act like they said something, and then they'll show them that it's able to heal. They were talking about the interest that these guys hate me so bad that they want to see me in situations similar to theirs. They were talking about how they want to see me with someone low, and that they want to see me with you ain't some shit they ain't gonna never see. They want to see me with a bunch of shit they ain't gonna never ever see. Gay porn. If you have never watched gay porn, you have to go to Tube 8 and select gay porn to see how extremely fucking disgusting it is. Tube 8, TUBE 8. They were talking about how they put all of the neighbors in a vibrational frequency that they are not supposed to be in. And they were talking about how they did certain things a certain way so that when they're looked at, you know, like they won't be looked at for the damage and the attacks that they're associated with. It's actually raining a little bit. I stood up because I'm not able to think anymore. The main reason that they terminated my cell phone service on the iPhone is because that's where all the photos are that are associated with the evidence that there was 2 photos I was going to put on Instagram. It was going to be the protection order that got dismissed, and then the call note from the 3rd of August when they called the cops on me in an apartment downstairs and lied. It makes it obvious. They're still separating my space, hiding my bathroom mostly, and my bedroom. I spend like literally the majority. They're putting the smell of a female is bad. Look at my. I'm not gonna talk about it. They're putting the smell of a female. It's so disgusting. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but the nasty smelling female in front of my nose. Sometimes when I walk into my kitchen or my bedroom, I'll walk into it. So them standing there as astral projectors, serving as an energy in my space. You get what I'm saying? So depending on what type of reads they're trying to reference, you know, they'll pick up on those two. I talked about that in the past. When meanwhile there's only one energy in my apartment. Okay, I think that's it for this update. The other horrible shit, I just can't reference it right now. And I'm not even gonna say that I'll put it in the description or any of that because I got too much to do.